Make some noise for your amazing host.
Hey, what's up, Sandals Church kids? My name is Joelle, and this is my co-host,
Will. Welcome to our brand new series called Bookmark'd.
Bookmark'd is a series about a bunch of real everyday people who did real everyday things and had real everyday lives that God marked for his real but not so everyday plan.
I'm so excited to be here with you guys, man. I love Sandals Church kids. Thank you so much for having me be a part of this series.
So here is what's happening today. We are going to basically have a lot of fun, watch a fun video together, worship together, hear a Bible story together, and a lot more.
And check these out. These are the original Bookmark'd books that we will be hearing our story from today.
These books are so cool, you guys. They're colorful, they're fun, they're bright, and they remind me of some of my favorite books growing up. Speaking of books and stories, today's story is called, take a deep breath in.
Joshua and the Certainly Climactic Crossing of the Risky River route into the pretty awesome promised land from our story in Joshua chapter 3.
You guys, that's why he's my co-host. He nailed that
Thanks,
title.
Joel. Thank you.
All right, guys, let's take a quick look at what's coming up next.
Coming up.
We're going to see how we can be confident in God by figuring out how a quarter can be the same size as a penny.
Find out how on Bookmark'd.
Okay guys, up next, we are gonna watch a fun video together, but real quick, hit that download button below this video and print out your Get Real guide.
And you guys might notice that the Get Real guide looks just like this book, you guys, because we want you to have your very own at home.
And I don't know about you guys, but I definitely want to collect the whole series.
Yes.
Joelle, what was one of your favorite book series growing up?
I loved the Shel Silverstein books. I love the poetry. I love the funny artwork. And the words were just hilarious. Some of them made no sense to me, but I just loved it.
Love it, love it. And what about the rest of you guys? Now, let's check out this fun video, everyone. See you guys back here soon.
Okay, so we are back with another game that Mrs. Coyote and I are going to play.
I'm excited.
It is the Google Nest game, and basically we have to ask Google one question and see if she can answer.
Mr. Coyote, your first word is the word captain. What is the question that will get Google to answer?
Hey Google, what are the ranks on the Starship Enterprise?
Here are the first 5. Captain, Commander,
Yes.
Lieutenant Commander.
So good. Okay,
Clarity. All right.
so your
me
word
with that word.
is, they chose for you, raccoon.
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 Raccoon. Hey Google, what is another name for a trash panda?
On the website al.com, they say, slang word for raccoon gives Alabama baseball team its name.
All right.
All right. Next word.
So those are both, we've got both of those right, which means 100 points to each of us.
Okay. This next one should be pretty simple. Famous last words. Your word is scissors.
Hey Google, what are Johnny Depp's favorite acting roles?
Johnny Depp's career is in a rut. Johnny Depp's 10 greatest roles, ranked in order. Tom Hansen, 21 Jump Street, Willy Wonka, Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, and Sam, Benny and June. Want to hear more?
No. What? What was the first part? Johnny Depp's career's in a rut? I know that he's probably watching right now. And like, look,
Obviously.
I was talking about Edward Scissorhands. So because I didn't get it right, that means you can steal.
Okay. Hey Google, what beats paper?
According to Wikipedia, a player who decides to play rock will beat another player who has chosen scissors. Rock crushes scissors, or sometimes blunt scissors, but will lose to
Hey,
one who
Google,
has
stop.
played paper.
Did you say blunt scissors?
That was good.
I
What?
feel like she answers the question and just trails off in her own, like,
She's calling out to us right now. She's, I think Google Nest needs help. Now it's still your turn. So
Okay.
your word is turquoise. Good luck.
Turquoise?
Yes, turquoise.
oh my goodness. Okay. Hey Google, what are some vibrant colors?
On the website apmhub.com, they say, vivid brights represent excitement and optimism.
So I'm gonna steal. Hey Google, what is a blue-green gemstone?
They say the most known blue-green forms of gemstones are paraiba-tourmaline, apatite, and fluorite. Do you want a little more context?
I've never heard those words before. Okay.
Okay, you can steal your own steal.
Okay, so I was born in September, so I know my birthstone is sapphire. I'm just gonna wing it. Hey Google, what is the November birthstone?
Yes.
November's birthstones are topaz and citrine.
I know what it is.
Okay.
I didn't think about that. Hey Google, what is the birthstone for December?
November's alternative birthstone, topaz, is most desired in its orange imperial topaz color.
You said December.
I said December. You heard it here. Hey Google, what is the birthstone for December?
Sorry, I don't have any information about that.
Okay, I'm
it's-
gonna try it.
It's
'cause
turquoise.
I feel like she's, for some reason, like not wanting to answer your question.
Yes.
correctly. Hey Google, what is December's birthstone?
On the website wixandjewelers.com, they say December birthdays have claim to 3 gemstones, zircon, tanzanite and turquoise. Do you want a little more context?
I didn't ask it correctly, I guess. The first time I thought I said November.
That's so weird.
Thank you guys so much for playing, what was this game called? The Google Nest game. Thank you guys so much for playing the Google Nest game.
And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
So it's worship time, and personally for me, I've had a pretty hurried week. So I'm really looking forward to slowing down with you guys and worshiping God together.
Thank you for sharing that, Will. And that's why I love worship. It's a time to give God everything we have through music.
Yep, love it. All right, Sandals Church kids, go ahead and get up on those feet and let's worship together.
Bible's more than just a book. It's the Word of God. Here before anything else, and living on and on and on. The Bible's more than just a book. It's a time machine, showing me people and places I have never seen. More than just a book. So much more than just a book. More than just a so much more than just a book. The Bible's alive and it's powerful. The Bible's alive and it's powerful. It's alive and powerful. The Bible's more than just a book. It's the Word of God. Here before anything else, and living on and on and on. The Bible's more than just a book. It's a treasure map, leading me on an adventure where the treasure's really at. More than just a book. So much more than just a book. More than just a so much more than just a book. The Bible's alive and it's powerful. 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 It's alive and powerful. Oh, it's alive and powerful. It's alive and powerful. It's alive and powerful. You gotta be You wanna be real, you gotta be honest with yourself. If you wanna be real, you can't pretend that you're someone else. Faking it can get your places sometimes, but you lose yourself on the way. If you really wanna live a good life, be humble, be honest.
everyone. We have arrived. It is time to get into our Bible story now.
In our story, Joshua and the Certainly Climactic Crossing of the risky river route into the pretty awesome promised land comes from Joshua chapter 3, 1-17 in the Bible.
And have you guys ever read a story that was so good that you couldn't put it down? Maybe wild adventures, crossing treacherous terrains, daring escapes from dangerous dragons, or magical mysteries solved through skillful sleuthing?
Man, the best stories are the ones where in the end, evil loses and good wins, and the main character learns something important along the way.
But that means that the best stories are always full of difficult and complex situations, just like real life.
Did you know that God chooses to use everything that happens in our lives to tell his story?
That's right. Good and bad, easy and hard, simple and complicated, God uses it all to show who he is. So let's check out some stories that gives us a peek into how God works.
Welcome to our series called Bookmark'd, where we'll read about how God uses everyday people just like you to accomplish his amazing plans.
We're calling the series Bookmark'd because when you become a follower of God, he has chosen and bookmarked you to be a part of his grand story of how he loves and saves the world.
Whether we realize it or not, God uses you in his story. This week, we'll see how God keeps his promises, and that means we can be confident in God. Let's turn the page in 3, 2, 1.
Imagine with me for just a second that it is a hot summer day. You and your friends are splashing around in the nice, cool ocean. You guys are diving and flipping in the waves. When all of a sudden, as you come up for air, you realize you are too far away from the shore to see your parents anymore. You start swimming towards the beach, but the waves are pulling you out further and further into the ocean. You're tired and you're scared and you do not know what to do. How are you gonna get back? Then all of a sudden, you feel the water stop pulling you and you start to lower towards the ocean floor. Soon, your feet are touching the sand, and get this, there is a dry path through the ocean right back to your family's umbrella. How does this happen? What are you thinking right now? Well, as you figure that out, did you know that something really similar to this happened in the Bible? Let's check it out.
We left off in our story with the Israelites wandering through the desert for 40 years. Let's pick back up in the book of Joshua. Chapter 1, the land full of promise. Joshua woke up and Joshua woke up and Joshua? Huh? There we go. Hey, buddy. Joshua woke up and took a long overhead stretch. He could hear the rushing water of the flooded Jordan River mixed with the giggling Israelite kids right outside his tent. He stepped out and looked across the river. He still couldn't believe it. The land God had promised to his family and the rest of the tribe of Israel a long, long time ago was right there. Joshua, the promised land is that way. There we go. He could almost smell the green rolling hills and the strong cedar trees in the distance. The words God had spoken to him echoed in his head over and over. Be strong and brave. You must lead these people to their land. He was anxious about what would happen next, but he trusted that God was in control, just like he had always been. God was with him in the same way he was with Moses. Joshua had carefully told the Israelites all the special instructions God had given them about going into the land. Today was the day it was finally going to happen. Chapter 2, Cry Me a River. Joshua gathered the Israelites and stood at the banks of the overflowing river. The Jordan was at its highest point and the water was rising faster than he remembered.
That's a lot of water.
I know, it is. He motioned for the priests carrying the Ark of the Covenant to step into the river. The Ark represented the presence of God, and was to go first, leading the Israelites towards God's promise. The water crashed around them, swallowing up the priest's legs and tugging them downstream. Just then, Joshua noticed the water seemed to slow down a little bit. He must have imagined it, but then he looked to the opposite bank and saw the water level was lower than it had just been. How was that possible? Flip to see the water shrink. Let's do it. And right before his eyes, the water was suddenly all but a faint trickle. Chapter 3, Flow No Mo. The priest holding the ark stood wide-eyed in the middle of the once flooded river on completely dry land. The Israelites looked out in awe. God had stopped the water for them just like he had when their ancestors left Egypt and crossed the sea. A thrilling energy buzzed through the crowds as they began to cross the Jordan River and into the land God had promised. Now, there is so much more to this story, and if you want to hear about it, you'll have to come back next week.
Wow, what a crazy time to be an Israelite, to be able to see that unbelievable miracle. Now, the craziest part is that the Israelites had been waiting for God to fulfill or complete his promise for hundreds of years. God first promised the land to Abraham centuries before, and the promise had been passed down through so many generations and so many family members, all the way down to Joshua. The Israelites trusted that God would keep his promises even if they didn't live to see it themselves. And you know what? God honored his commitment to the Israelites by providing a way for them to enter into the land he promised. God always keeps his promises and his word to us too. He promises to love, to protect, and to save us. So let's take a look at our one thing for today. The one thing to remember is that God keeps his promises.
God keeping his promises is kind of like these coins. Now I have my friend Ethan here.
Hi guys.
And I'm going to show you, Ethan, and you guys that are watching, how I can make a quarter the same size as a penny. Look at these coins and make sure that they are regulation coins. Shiny enough.
Shiny.
Same size.
Yep, those are 2 certified coins.
So what's gonna happen is I'm going to draw a circle that's the same size as a penny on this piece of paper, and this is just a regular piece of paper.
Woo!
Just so our friends at home, they're watching. Circle.
Circle.
Now I'm gonna fold our piece of paper, just like that. Gonna cut for you. You can keep that as a souvenir.
Thanks.
And Ethan, can you do me a favor and drop this penny into this hole right here?
I sure can. Boom!
Bloop. Perfect. Can you now drop this quarter into our hole?
I'll give it my best shot.
There we go, right there.
Dude, that's impossible.
Maybe if you try rolling it down the paper right into the hole, it'll work. Oh, nice. How confident are you that I can put this quarter into this penny-sized hole?
I'd give it a solid 82%.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna show you, Ethan. We're gonna put that right there and move it just like that.
Wait, what? Do that again.
Oh, gladly. I will gladly do it again. Boom. And that is how we can make a quarter the same size as a penny. So Ethan, now that I've shown you that I can do it, how confident are you in me now?
Well, Joel, we are now up to a cozy 100%. You know, that kind of reminds me of the chapters in our story this week. God had made the Israelites a promise that they would have a special land just for their tribe.
But they had to go through a lot, like running from a bad pharaoh in Egypt and wandering through a desert for 40 years before they saw God's promise to them come true. In fact, they even had to wait for many generations to pass.
Goodness, that's like someone making a promise to your great grandma and completing that promise to you today. That's like a long time. But the Israelites still trusted in God and knew that they could count on him to come through.
We can be confident or trust God fully in our lives too. No matter what, when God makes a promise, he will always complete it.
And that's why our action step for today is that we can be confident in God.
Hey everybody, my name is Jono, and I want to tell you a story today about how I was confident in God. So when I was 16 years old, I had a pretty bad accident. I actually got cut by a really big piece of glass in my left leg, and it was really bad, so bad that when I got to the hospital, the doctor told my dad that they were going to do everything they could, but there's a chance that they won't be able to actually save my leg. And what's crazy is I had just finally saved up enough money to buy a brand new snowboard. And I've been saving for months and months. And I was so excited. I knew exactly which one I was gonna get. And I laid there thinking, wait a minute, I may never get to do that again. And then I thought, wait a minute, what about all the sports that I'm in? Like, I was in cross country and wrestling and track, and I loved hiking and all that. So I thought, what if I never do that again? My life might be wildly different than what I had planned. But then I also thought, right in that same moment, I believe God spoke to me and said, but I have a plan for your life. I have a plan. Trust me. Trust me with the plan that I have. And so I thought, okay, God, I trust you. I trust that you're good, and I want to have confidence in your promises. So when I woke up in the recovery room, I reached down and I felt, and oh man, it was the best feeling, like my leg is still there. But what I didn't know is that they had to do a pretty intense surgery to try to save my leg. So they cut these big cuts on both sides to relieve the pressure. It's really gross, I know. But they relieved the pressure so that the muscle could breathe and wouldn't die. And so I got these huge scars from my ankle to my knee on both sides, plus the scar where the glass actually went in. So just like I had confidence in God's promises, you too can have confidence in God.
All right, guys, let's go over the bookmark memory verse found in Joshua chapter 3, verse 5. It says, "Make yourselves holy for the Lord. Tomorrow the Lord will do amazing things among you."
We saw in our story how God did amazing things by working through Joshua and the Israelites and parting the rushing Jordan River so that they could cross into the land God had promised them.
We learned that God always keeps his promises, not just to Joshua and the Israelites, but to us too. That's why the one thing to remember is that God keeps his promises.
And our action step for this week is that we can be confident in God.
And all of this information is on your Get Real guide, so make sure to check it out.
Before we end, we're going to go into one more song of worship, so back up on your feet and let's sing together.
Dear enemy, you were just a part of the plan for the hope and the future I now have. Dear enemy, my God is the master creator. Everything is better in his hands. You meant to hurt me, but God turned your evil into good. It was to save me and the lives of many people. God turns evil into good. Dear enemy, you your sticks and stones. He's cooking me a feast with your fire. Yeah, he's using you to help me grow. He's pointing me to life with your arrows. He's building a throne with your sticks and stones. He's cooking me a feast with your fire. Yeah, he's using you to help me grow. You meant to hurt me, but God turned your evil into good, into good. It was to save me and the lives of many people. God turns evil into good. 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 God turns evil into good.
You can live out the vision of being real with yourself, God, and others by opening up your Get Real guide to the Now What. Later today or this week, grab an index card and write down 3 things you are confident God will do for you. Tape the index card to your mirror and read it every morning this week, right after you brush your teeth.
You'll find the Now What and more in your Get Real guide, so don't forget to download it. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today, friends.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at SandalsKids. See you guys next time.